he touch a woman fit to be his grandmother? What is his courage? How did he get the guts to do this? And how does a society just keep quiet?
Hello and welcome to this episode of Bullseye. I come to you today with a great deal of shock and sadness. Today, one is ashamed as a human being, one is ashamed as a man, and one is ashamed at what is happening in our beloved Goa. I come to you with a story that could not be stopped, with an episode that had to be reported primarily because of its sheer audacity of the perpetrator, who had no shame, no remorse to sexually assault an 85-year-old lady in the jurisdiction of the Mainakurturi police station. Once you hear this story narrated by Auda Viegas, the head of Bailancho Equot, your blood will boil, your hair will stand on its end, and to all the sensitive people across both genders, tears will flow down your eyes with your hearts being completely heavy. A 35-year-old man with a series of criminal cases, which includes cases under the POCSO Act and other such cases of molestation, rape, burglary, theft from the committed under the Verna police station, the Kalangud police station, did an act which was absolutely unthinkable. The man is from Kalangud. He was in the Nuvem area because of his relative was living here. He befriended this 85-year-old woman by giving her solace by spending time with her at a shop, and he used to come to that shop and have a chat with her. This lady, of course, lived in a family. She has a son, she has a daughter-in-law who look after her well. But it so happened that this man, after manipulating her confidence, one day he barged into the shop, put the shutter down, and inserted his private parts into her mouth forcibly, pushed her back, injured her, and then he is on the run. I know it sounds bizarre, it sounds almost unbelievable, but the reason one is deciding to do this is for two reasons. Firstly, a story like this cannot be swept under the carpet and not treated just like any other law and order or a rape story. This is worse than that, if anything can be worse. Secondly, we have these history sheeters roaming around scot-free. These are serial offenders from all across Goa. He comes from Kalangut, he commits offences in Verna, and now under the Mainakurturi police station. We obviously will not reveal the exact place where it happened, nor will we reveal details of his family, but this brute's name is Stanley Coutinho. Mark the name, Stanley Coutinho. And before we bring in Auda Viegas to narrate what really happened, let me also tell you that this Stanley Coutinho was charge sheeted FIR 68 by 2025 in the Mapsa police station. Case registered on 25th April 2025, charge sheeted on 21st June 2025. Basically barely a year earlier. A person charge sheeted under the POCSO Act for kidnapping a 9-year-old daughter and sexually assaulting her and harassing her by undressing and touching her inappropriately. This happened in the under the Mapsa police station jurisdiction a year ago. The same man, after sexually harassing a 9-year-old girl, does the same with an 85-year-old woman. That is not all. FIR number 77 by 2024, Verna police station, charge sheeted on 27/8/2024, again a case of theft. Just shows the mentality of this man. We are investigating. I am investigating further cases, and we'll get the entire details of this man out, because this is not the first story. This is the first story, but this is certainly not the last we are doing of this man. But before we go any further, let's hear this painful story from Auda Vegas, who has been assisting the police and the family as the head of the NGO Balance Record. Auda herself said that she has seen so many cases but has not stopped crying for the last 2 days. And this is the story. Hear it from Auda's words.
Elderly people in Goa, they like talking. And in fact, psychologically speaking, speaking to somebody helps an elderly to maintain mental health. So this way, this guy, for around a month, he started visiting a shop where she sits down, which is her shop. She sits there. Either she does sales if no one is there, or she just sits around because she can talk to people. And it's a very good idea. This guy befriended her. He's a confidence trickster, but how was she to know? She's a vulnerable woman, feeble, looking for company, but she's well looked after. This I would like to add. I'm proud of her son and daughter-in-law who take very good care of her. She's well looked after. She was sitting there. This fellow started coming, going. Nobody took it amiss. He would talk to her, make her feel good. Then one day when the son went for the funeral, that is on the 7th, son went for the funeral, daughter-in-law took her two boys and she came to do shopping. When she came to do shopping, there was a gap of 2 hours, 5:30 to 7:30, nobody was there. This guy comes into the shop, he hugs her, without any preliminary thing, he hugs her, he pushes her down, he's trying to push his private part into her mouth, he locks the gate of the shop, and he pushes her again back into a corner behind the fridge, and there forcibly he inserts his private part into her mouth. And then he lifts her dress, the dress that she was wearing, and elderly generally don't wear any undergarments because, and also the heat. So he lifts the dress, she pushes him down, then he hurts her back. And by that time she doesn't know what is happening because she was getting palpitations. Then he leaves her when his job is done, he goes away and she's screaming inside alone. That's when the neighbors come and she's rescued.
Auda now has spoken about exactly what has happened. It is difficult to digest it. It is difficult to even fathom that this has happened in our Goa. And I began also, as soon as I heard this, began by asking Auda one fundamental question. And the fundamental question is this. My question is that because justice takes so long and gets so delayed, the clamor of voices arguing for non-judicial and illegal ways of handling this is only getting stronger.
Yes, I agree with you. Delay in delivery of justice is one of the causes that gives a free play to this kind of elements. Like this particular person, 35-year-old, his name is Samrod Kutino. He is involved in cases in Kalangut. in Mapsa as well as in Verna. Now, having this much of cases, which is the watchful eye that is kept on him? Who has watched his activity? If Mahanand became a Mahanand, it was for the same reason. So, what I'm saying is delay, especially in a childlike case like this, you know that 80 and beyond is second childhood. It started earlier, but it's second childhood, and she should get justice immediately. Will she be there to see the justice that is given to her? Now, that's why I've pushed the police. I'm after the police. I'm after the law keepers. I feel that the PI as well as the investigating officer, PSI, are trying their level best. Besides, the whole police station is geared up to catch this guy. And my thing is, the justice in the court will not help us. And I'm saying this after 33 years of working with women and children and even the environment. I've faced a lot of this trouble as far as courts are concerned. Because courts, and more than the courts, it's the investigation. The slow or delayed investigation, the improper investigation, the reasons why people don't come forward to stand as witnesses. The delay causes a lot of gaps in delivery of justice, and then it goes to the court, and once it goes to the court, there are any amount of delays because of lawyers or because of this or that or some other factor. So what I'm saying is, this should be quick justice.
The reason why I asked Auda, and you've just heard the bite, the reason why I asked her, that when justice takes so long, then the clamor of voices seeking illegal and extrajudicial action rises, and that's not good for society. But a society that is under so much of pain and injustice is sometimes forced to make these kind of demands or these kind of voices, which is not good for any civilized society. But one must understand where these voices are also coming from. One is not advocating anything extrajudicial, but one has to understand where the pain is coming from. What is also important is, as Auda very rightly asks, how can this man touch a woman old enough to be his grandmother? Of course, that does not assume by any stretch of imagination that he can touch anybody for that matter. But at the same time, just look at the frailty, the age and the weakness of an 85-year-old lady.
How could he touch a woman fit to be his grandmother? What is his courage? How did he get the guts to do this? And how does a society just keep quiet and watch?
Auda rightly asks, how can a society keep quiet and watch? And I say this to everybody. I say this to every man more than every woman. I say this to every police officer. I say this to every politician. And I say this to all my colleagues in this noble profession called journalism. Do not keep quiet and merely watch. Speak out against this. Put pressure on the cops. I know all of us need to take bites, need to take political bites, need to talk to politicians, need to report about who's joining a party and who's exiting a party. We need to report on various kind of press statements and counter statements. We need to report on elections. We need to report on all of these things. But none of this matters if we live in a society where our women and especially the elderly cannot be safe. And more importantly, when hardcore criminals commit what Auda rightly says is nothing less than rape and remain scot-free after committing so many other offences in the past, including this one. Hear what Auda says about what the cases are, but what should also be levelled against this absolutely inhuman beast.
I'm demanding that outrage of a body part, whether it was the vagina or the mouth, should be treated as rape in this particular case. I don't care what the law says, but I feel that that should be done in this case to deter anyone else meddling with the elderly who are mostly alone. This lady has a very nice daughter-in-law and a son who look after her. Her grandchildren look after her. But there are so many women in Goa who are living alone because the children have gone elsewhere to work or the bird has flown its nest.
Or there is a very important question that when there is an outrage of a body part of a woman, we must very stringently amend laws to ensure that the rape offence is holds in such cases as well. After the Nirbhaya case, when there were major changes in the law, where any kind of penetration was seen as an act of rape, I feel a time has come to expand that definition to any part of a woman being assaulted in this kind of a manner. Because the impact on the woman is no less. The trauma is no less. The agony is no less. And one must understand this. She spoke about the elderly. Yes, the elderly in Goa are vulnerable because we live in a society where children have moved away. Many have moved away for jobs. Many live in foreign countries where parents live alone. The elderly need care, they need attention. We still don't have a system that takes care of the elderly. We all know how the Providaria functions. We all know the state of government-run old age homes. The elderly are not only lonely, they are not safe in Goa. There have been murder cases, there have been theft and burglary cases in the homes of the elderly. And we'll go into that later, not today. Today, this is about this case and the shock waves that should go through your systems. If they don't, then very sadly, you too are culpable and you too should be held accountable if your blood doesn't boil when you hear these kind of incidents. Before we conclude, at least today, now this elderly lady in the twilight years of her life has gone through this absolute hell. Does she really need to be taken all the way to the Goa Medical College, all the way to the dental college to examine her mouth? Because in oral sexual harassment cases, apparently the teeth and the mouth of the victim are examined. I know this sounds absolutely gory and avoidable, but I couldn't help say that does she have to go through this? Do we not have facilities in South Goa to do the basic legal checks that are needed? And even more importantly, why can't this be done in the confines, in the privacy of her home? Why does this 85-year-old on a wheelchair, if I have not mentioned it before, I mention it again, she is an 85-year-old on a wheelchair, have to go through this? What have we become as a society? Is the letter of the law more important than the heart of what justice should be? Where is our spirit? Tonight I call upon the police and the society to do these few things. First, we go to the society and the people who represent people, our MLAs. Where are you? It's been 5 days. Where is the local MLA? Has he devoted even a second to this case? Is he even aware? What are other elected representatives doing? What is the Chief Minister doing? Is this case too small? Does it not matter? Firstly, and this should happen all over the country and not just in Goa, the law must be expanded and the definition of rape expanded to any assault on any part of a woman's body. Any sexual assault on any part of a woman's body. Point number 1. Point number 2, these cases have to be fast-tracked. These brutes cannot be left floating around and commit more acts. Here you have a case where a serial offender who sexually assaulted a 9-year-old woman, assaulting an 85-year-old woman in a year's time. These are people who are roaming around all over the place, scot-free, scot-free. How is this person whose area is known, his house is known, how is he absconding? It's been 4 days. Why is there no trace of him? Why is he not being caught? Fast track, and that's very important. Fast track, put him behind bars, dispense justice quickly and swiftly. And finally, let people in society who have very important things to do, journalists like us who supposedly have very, very important things to do, to move away from political bite gathering and show some heart and ensure that we stand with the family of this lady, her son, and her daughter in law. Lovely people, especially her daughter in law, who's, if she had not intervened and said, I am not going to let this lie down, take this line down, I'm going to fight for my mother in law. She's the one who made the complaint and approached the police station. Hats off to her. We can't take her name for legal reasons, but hats off to her. Hats off to her husband. Now we, journalists and other members of the society, let us put our hands up and stand with these people, because it is not a question of just one grandmother. It could be yours, it could be mine, it could be anybody else's tomorrow and day after. Think about this. Let us have some heart. Let us fight for a Goa that can be a little more civilized to our women and to our elderly. This is Ink Goa, and I'm Shujoy Gupta.